I think Lamar Jackson's going to win the MVP. That is a true statement. I think he's going to win the MVP because of narrative and when he did it, right? But I don't think that Lamar Jackson's a top 10 quarterback. I think C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love are a better quarterback than he is.
Here we go.
Now listen.
A good joke.
He
top 10.
All right. Let's cut this real quick. Let's go. Luke, tell me why Lamar is a top 10 quarterback. Tell me why he is an MVP quarterback.
I mean, have you watched him play at all this season?
No.
I've watched him shit the bed a lot. Tell me why. I didn't ask you to ask me a question. I asked you, why is Lamar an MVP quarterback? Stop dancing around the question. Stop avoiding giving a response that doesn't exist. Why is Lamar an MVP quarterback?
All About the Balls podcast with Mark Davis, Chris Meinhardt, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. It's the NFL Divisional Preview episode of All About the Balls podcast. I'm Mark Davis. I'm in the sack house, and I'm joined alongside a returning Luke Rule, Nick the Doc Skirkowitz, and for a third consecutive football episode, Alan Tomasello. He's no longer a backup. I think we're going to have to get this guy in here long term. Get him a long-term contract. None of these 10 days no more.
Let's pump the brakes. We had some audio issues coming in here. Let's pump the brakes.
Hey, I did
that's
tell you
true,
I
that's
was
true.
a pro. I mean, I have been on ESPN twice. I told you guys that the first episode.
We got to get that ESPN mic then. That's what we need. We need to get ESPN to get some better mics. That's probably what it is. But Luke, I'm starting with you, man. Welcome back. You missed the last two episodes. I mean, obviously duty calls. You have a big game this weekend. We're going to talk about that shortly. How you feeling heading into this wonderful weekend?
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, long last week, working nights, had to flip my sleep schedule back around to go to work this morning. It's fucking awful. But yeah, we just, doing new stuff in the Army takes a lot of time. So we did a large scale operation down in from Fort Campbell down to Fort Johnson. So, it was a good time. A lot of work, just a punch and bag in the division command post. So it was great. Just loved it. But yeah, no, I'm glad to be back. So I'm ready for actually watching football this weekend.
Yeah, no more catching some, minutes here and there. Doc, how are you doing heading into the divisional round? Big rumors are that your boy Cliff Kingsbury is interviewing for the offensive coordinator role for the Chicago Bears. So how are you feeling?
I mean, honestly, I don't know if anybody could do worse than Luke Getsy. I had so much hope in him, and I mean, the guy is calling plays on a Madden rookie. You know what I'm saying? And just couldn't get the job done. So ready to move on.
Rumors are Caleb Williams will maybe join him because they have a little bit of chemistry. Alan, how are you feeling heading into this NFL divisional round weekend?
Well, listen, all of my teams, they're out, and I get to just watch football and enjoy football. I kind of feel like C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love, I got nothing to lose this weekend.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, they don't. And we'll talk about that. I'm having a good time behind this weekend. I've just been on a Blue Mountain State kick the last couple of days. I picked it back up from season 1. I don't think I ever finished the season 3 for it. So been fucking catching it, and God, what a great show. Honestly, hilarious show. Missed it. Forgot how funny it was. I think there's something there, Doc. You look like you're about to chime in.
No, fantastic show. Huge Blue Mountain State fan. Huge. That in the league, it's my off season.
Blue Mountain State, yeah. I mean, I'm right here. I just got done with the midterm episode in season 1 where they had the professor's mom pretty much just out there hanging out with the boys. So good show. Speaking of good,
there is an underrated show. A lot of people don't really watch it or haven't seen it, but it's called Community. All right, if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch Community. That show is hilarious. It's under the radar. Nobody knows about it. It's phenomenal.
I might have to check that out. But speaking of good things to watch, I believe we have 3 good games, maybe 4. We'll see how the Lions and Bucs do, but I believe we have at least 3 good games this week. That'd be more than we had last week and less games being played. And that starts off with the first game Saturday night, a team we haven't seen play in 20-plus days, the Baltimore Ravens, hosting the Houston Texans, a rematch of Week 1 where the Ravens won 25-9. Just like Week 1, boys, no Marlon Humphrey. He has been ruled out. How big is that? Let's see. Is that part of the storylines, boys? What are we thinking about this game here? Luke, I'd like to hear your opinion first. You're the Ravens fan. Kick us off.
Yeah, I mean, Marlon Humphrey out, it sucks, but I don't think it's a huge loss to our defense. He's only played pretty much half the season anyways. Brandon Stevens and Geno Stone been holding it down at corner all season. I mean, Geno Stone's second in the league with interceptions so far this season. Dude's been balling out. Practice squad guy, making a name for himself, going to get paid. But yeah, then Kyle Hamilton coming back this week off injury, so I'm sure he's gonna be excited to play some playoff football. But then it's all on our offense. See how Lamar does under the pressure this time. But yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I mean, we've had the Texans number. They played us pretty good the first game. They just couldn't put it in the end zone. CJ Stroud played good, nice, comfortable playing, but now he's a little more comfortable than he was week one. But if we can get home with our pass rush, he'll have a long day.
And that was Lamar's one of his worst games of the year. Even though you guys won, he was only 17 of 22, 169 interception.
Yeah.
But
week one was pretty sloppy for most teams, anyways. So a little different coming into the playoffs. Plus, I like what the Ravens did last week. They actually didn't take they are on a bye, but they didn't take the bye. They played practice all week, and Saturday did a live practice in the stadium, so to get a real feel. But I mean, as real as you can get in practice. But a nice stadium practice on Saturday was probably a good way of going about the bye week, I think. So a lot of players still fresh, and Mark Andrews potentially coming back this week. See how he's probably gonna be a game time decision.
I'm interested to see how these QBs, like I said, we saw each other play week one. Different CJ Stroud than he was week one. He's a lot more, like you said, Luke, a lot more comfortable with this NFL system. I mean, it's played a whole season. He's been playing pretty good. It's a completely different Houston Texans defense, too, that Lamar Jackson faced week one. Houston's clamped down for the most part of the season. I think they're a top 12, top 13 defense in the league. Different, like I said, than week one. Will Anderson's balling out. Derek Stingley out there. Christian Harris out there had a pick six last week. How does Lamar favor? I know there's that history of Lamar facing a team for the second time. He does tendency to have a struggle just because it's easier to figure out, obviously, a quarterback the second time around. But it's also a chance for the Ravens to learn something from C.J. Stroud, too. And this defense is probably the best defense in football. So which QB is going to make the better adjustment coming into this game than they saw the other defense week one? That's the storyline to me, is which quarterback can learn more from the week one's victory or the week one's game.
Yeah, I think that C.J. Stroud is a completely different player than he was week one. I mean, you've seen his progression throughout the entire season. And at this point, Lamar Jackson is who he is. He's still the same player. We thought at the beginning of the year that they were going to come out and it was going to be a opened up offense. They were going to pass the ball more. Yes, he had his career high in passing yardage, but this team is still predicated on Lamar Jackson's ability to run the ball. Maybe it's because they got the injuries to the running backs. I get it. But at the same time, we all know who Lamar Jackson is. That's not going to change. So C.J. Stroud developed over the season and has gotten better. And he's teams, once they get that book on you, they take away your ability to do things, right? That's what happens to rookies in the NFL. But teams started doing that, and he adjusted, and he was able to take advantage. So I really think that in this game, the advantage is on the Texans because all of the pressure is on the Ravens. All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit of statistics here. 4 times in the Ravens' history have they been at home in a wild card or division round, and they've lost that game. All right, now granted, they are 3-4 at home in their first playoff games. All right, 3-4 at home in their playoff games. Right, but 4 games they've lost being at home. 2 of those times they were they were the number 1 seed. They've lost at home.
I believe that was the Steve McNair days, the Steve McNair time, and then the Lamar Jackson. Was that Steve McNair? No, that wasn't Steve McNair. That was Collins, right?
Yeah.
Or no, Kerry Collins was the quarterback. I think that played you guys, but.
Yeah, they lost to the Giants with Kerry Collins.
McNair.
Yeah. We played a lot of road games where that's when we had January Joe out there lighting it up.
The Ravens are one of those road teams in the playoffs. And for them to take those 20 days off, I think that is a big deal, like you said, Luke, getting to get that practice in at home. But it's still there's so many things going against the Ravens right now as far as the momentum of the game. 3 weeks is a long time to sit on the sideline and not get that playing time. And the Texans went out and just demolished the Browns defense. The Texans went up against the number one scoring defense in the league. And how many points they put up last week?
You mean the Ravens?
They were number one.
No,
The Browns were number one in yards. They were number one in yards.
Okay.
Ravens are number one in points, sacks,
and how many yards did they put up on them? How many yards did they put up on the Browns?
They put up a good amount. I mean, also they had 2 pick sixes too. But I mean,
I'll give you that.
That doesn't help.
But
I think the Ravens being at home though is different. The Ravens defense will thrive better at home than the Browns would on the road, in my opinion. Personally, just with that.
CJ Stroud on the road in a hostile environment in the cold. We don't know how well he's going to do in the cold. So I mean, I don't think he's played a game this cold yet in his NFL career.
My big thing, and they were killing us on TikTok from the comment that we made last week, the comment that I made. But you know what? I think that there is merit there. There is statistics to back up what we're saying. Kirk Cousins is known as a quarterback that doesn't have a good record in the playoffs, right? He folds under pressure, right? And I'll just tell you, you look at Kirk Cousins' stats in those games, he's got 5 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 fumble. He's got 7 total touchdowns and 2 fumbles, right? And he's 1-3 in 4 games started as a starting quarterback in the playoffs. And he's got over 1,000 yards passing, right? He's not on the board. That's a cheat. I'm going to give you guys a cheat one on that. But right here, I'm going to go to this board real quick, and I want to give you guys some numbers. And think archetypes, right? Lamar Jackson archetypes. These are all statistics for quarterbacks that in their career playoff statistics. All right. Player 1, he's got 2-4 record. All right. He's 977 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 271 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 2 fumbles, 6 total touchdowns, 6 turnovers. All right. Player 2, 68.3 passer rating, 900 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 367 rushing yards. He's got 4 total touchdowns and 7 total turnovers.
Well, I know player 2 already.
All right. Player 3, 87.3 rating. He's got 1,374 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 507 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 fumble. He's got 11 total touchdowns and 6 turnovers. This is a playoff record, all right? And he's 4-2 in his in the playoffs. All right. What do you guys got? What do you got going?
I'm pretty sure I got him, and I want to know
player 2. Oh,
if I'm right on 3, if I'm right on number 3, I don't know why the fuck he's even on your board.
Well, I think I know player 3, and I think I know player 2.
He got no motherfucking business being on anything to do with this podcast.
What was the record on it? Number 2.
Number 2 is 1-3.
Slide your chair a little bit to the right.
Of course.
Slide your chair a little bit.
You know who that one is.
Yeah, Lamar.
So I think we're all in agreement that number 2 is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say number 3 is Jared. Number 3 is Jared Goff.
Negative. And number 1, you should know number 1, Mark.
You should know number 1, Mark.
Is it Matt Ryan?
Nope. No, Matt Ryan ain't getting rush yards, dude. Come on.
Hey, I'm just think Lamar.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna say 1-1's Vic then. If you're gonna say I should know that one.
That's the bull.
I wasn't thinking of. I missed that part where you said think of like Lamar Jackson style. I thought it was a QB's currently in the league.
So
number 3 is Vic. Number 1 is Vic. Number 2 is Lamar. Who do you think number 3 is?
Well, it's a Russian QB. It's I don't think it's Cam. Cam didn't really go.
It's not necessarily a Russian QB. It's West Coast offense, and he got no business fucking being in any conversation that we ever have.
I don't know, honestly. I couldn't tell you number 3 is.
Number 3
correct me if I'm wrong. But number 3, I'm pretty sure, is Colin Kaepernick, piece of shit.
This guy, Doc, is on his shit. I tell you that much. It is Colin Kaepernick, right? I'm not going to get into all of the other stuff, right? We don't
can leave that out.
I'm talking about specifically the archetype of Lamar Jackson. We've seen it. And the only time he was ever successful in the playoffs was with Colin Kaepernick. And when you look at Michael Vick's career, who was he? He was the guy that ran the ball. He was the guy, and later into his career,
Well,
Andy Reid got a hold of him. He could throw the ball a little bit more,
Well,
but even then, he lost in the playoffs.
Let's pause that a little bit because Kaepernick was blessed. I'm not. Lamar's different. He had a good defense. Vic wouldn't have a good defense in Atlanta. Let's just throw that out there right now.
Kaepernick had a good defense.
But the record, that's what I'm saying. That 4-2 record, that you get. Kaepernick was a baller in those games, but that defense also were studs. Like you didn't have to really. He played pressure free because he knew the defense was going to be able to back him up.
What has Lamar Jackson's defense has ever been? What has Lamar Jackson's defense has ever been?
Well, I will say that the Derrick Henry game, I get Lamar didn't play good, but that's the Dak Prescott argument, like you say. The defense didn't play good for the Titans Ravens game neither. Derrick Henry ran wild on that defense. He literally slung boys around. I mean, Luke knows. He saw it. He was slinging that defense around.
Listen, I'm not going to do the Dak to Lamar comparison. I tried to throw the numbers up for Dak.
Playoff game because he hasn't played the last few years in the playoffs because he's been injured.
His last playoff game was the Bills game, I believe.
Bills game, yeah.
And that was not a good game either by Josh or Lamar. But I mean, that was like you said, that was 2020.
Josh Allen is the better version of Lamar Jackson. He's the bigger guy. He's the guy with the stronger arm in the cold weather. He's the guy that can run you down. He doesn't have to be the fastest person. The thing that happens in the playoffs,
guaranteed 2 punts a game. He's going to throw up.
That's true, but.
Well, playoffs though, his stats aren't really aren't turnovers like that though. His playoff stats are.
He had turnover worthy passes last week.
Just like JJ Watt said, that's a bullshit stat. PFF, no, doesn't matter. Okay, well that happens to every quarterback. You can probably find 20 throws this year that Lamar had that could have been interceptions. Just like Patrick Mahomes, just like every quarterback has those, and every running back has close calls they could have.
Everyone has the defense drops more than they intercept.
That's the way it goes.
They don't track almost interceptions, and
that's what PFF. Well, that's what PFF does. That's how PFF grades a lot. Is they grade probabilities to low rate like catches and almost interception worthy plays. That's why JJ Watt said on the McAfee show this week he said PFF's bullshit because they look at that. It's not what you did. It's what could have happened in this situation.
Listen, my whole point of putting this on the board is what happens to running quarterbacks in the playoffs is. Teams take that away. And I know Lamar Jackson teams have been trying to take that away for years. One of the reasons why Lamar Jackson is so successful against the NFC is because he rarely plays them. That's why he has such a crazy stat. But then, like you said, Mark, once that team gets that first time, they get to understand his speed. They get to understand the things that he likes to do. They take it away. And in the playoffs, he's going to be going up against a defense with the Texans that's rolling. You said it last week, 2 pick sixes. That's what playoff Joe does, right? He throws those pick sixes. But look at Lamar Jackson's career. What does he do in the playoffs? He turns the ball over. He's careless with the ball. He has those issues, and they're going to make him throw in tight windows. That's what teams always do. They're going to take away the run option, and they're going to make him throw in tight windows. Without Mark Andrews there, maybe Mark Andrews even shows up. But I still don't think that he's going to have that ability to sling it in that cold weather with that into those tight windows.
You know why? And I'll say it for the people in the back. Let me fucking. Because he's not a fucking MVP.
Listen,
I'm
not gonna go.
Yes, I mean, the writers are gonna say he's MVP. So
let me just clarify.
And the playoffs are gonna show it. The playoffs are gonna fucking show it.
But the playoffs, okay, that's the thing. Is MVP can't unless you're gonna do unless they vote the day after the conference championships. He's an MVP based on what they say. He's gonna be a 2-time MVP. We can't. That's why, like what Chris was saying on TikTok was, well, this is your, and you said it too, Alan, on Discord. This is your MVP. Okay, well, I can't use playoff stats to judge the 2023 NFL season. I can't do that. I mean, and like our boy Deuce Youngster said, Peyton Manning, we forget, he was not a good playoff quarterback when it came to record-wise until he got that Super Bowl, and he still is barely a 500 quarterback.
Record-wise, we ain't talking turnovers and
Peyton had some big struggles until he won that Super Bowl against the Bears.
Against the Patriots.
And even against the Bears, didn't he have a turnover or two in that game?
That was also, that was a crap weather game. For some reason, it was a rainy game, but still, he won and he won MVP. But I don't know, to me, it's about which quarterback's gonna make the better adjustment. That's my headline there, and I'm interested to see CJ Stroud. I really am. I like CJ Stroud. Luke and Doc, they can contest to it. I said CJ Stroud should be the first quarterback taken in the 2023 NFL draft, and he's playing like he should have been the first quarterback taken. And I think Lamar's playing good. I've told Luke off air, and I've told Luke on air. I have liked what Lamar's done. He's had a couple bad games. He's not been perfect this year. No quarterback has. But he's played better more than he's played worse this season.
Let me just clarify, though, for those on TikTok, just real quick, what I mean by I think Lamar Jackson's going to win the MVP. That is a true statement. I think he's going to win the MVP because of narrative and when he did it, right? But I don't think that Lamar Jackson's a top 10 quarterback. I think C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love are a better quarterback than he is.
Here we go.
Now listen.
Fucking joke.
Never
top 10.
All right. Let's cut this real quick. Let's go. Luke, tell me why Lamar is a top 10 quarterback. Tell me why he is an MVP quarterback.
I mean, have you watched him play at all this season?
No.
I've watched him shit the bed a lot. Tell me why. I didn't ask you to ask me a question. I asked you, why is Lamar an MVP quarterback? Stop dancing around the question. Stop avoiding giving a response that doesn't exist. Why is Lamar an MVP quarterback?
You have to watch him play to understand it. It's not MVP is not a stats award. It's not like the Heisman. It's not padding your stats to win an MVP. It's being like that one player, that game changer on the offense. The whole Ravens offense runs through Lamar. You saw
how to be a game changer on offense to win an MVP.
Well, that's what it usually is.
Most valuable player. Usually a game changer.
Listen, I just think that the reason why he's going to win it is because he's the most valuable player to his team.
And look at the field and throw the ball is why he's the MVP.
But
it's
player, not quarterback.
Award.
But the thing is, the narrative is QB award, and that's not a Lamar thing. Yeah. That's a thing of its own. It's been a quarterback award.
We talked
quarterback.
We talked in the last show about Lamar came in, beat the Niners, beat the shit out of the Dolphins. I'll give him that.
He did great against the Niners. He did really good against the Niners. People sleep on that. He had 250 plus yards and 2 touchdowns, and he was pretty damn near accurate. He blew out the Lions.
You blew out a fucking shit Lions defense. All right, you expect that.
Okay. Well, you expected Stafford to light that defense up too, and he didn't. You said Stafford was going to be the second best quarterback. Whoa! You said Stafford was the second best QB in the playoffs.
Did I say shit about Stafford right now? First of all, Stafford ain't even on the Lions, buddy.
But he played the Lions, what I'm saying. But he played the Lions last week, and you both said that Stafford was like the number 2 best quarterback, arguably the first best NFC quarterback in the playoffs, what both of you said last week.
I said he was the best quarterback in the NFC.
And you argued with him, too. You said he was either 1 or 2, Doc. And he didn't do that well against the Lions. He didn't play great.
All right, that's not my question, though. That's not my question. My question is, where in the fuck is Lamar Jackson an MVP quarterback?
It's like why Aaron Rodgers won it a couple years ago when he didn't have the best stats.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to fucking hear.
Well, I'm answering
watch the games to know.
Well, I'm answering it. It's the same thing.
Lamar
Aaron Rodgers
cost me enough parlays to know that he's not a fucking MVP. Just from
in 2021, Aaron Rodgers won MVP when he shouldn't have won MVP at all. His stats were nowhere near Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady, but he still won the MVP because Packers were the number 1 seed in the NFC. Yes, because of the record, because the 2021.
It was narrative too, and that's the reason why. And this year is not comparable to a lot of the other years where we had great quarterback play, because this year we did not have great quarterback play. Dak Prescott was the best statistical quarterback in the league. Tua led the league in passing yards.
But that's why Lamar's going to win it. Is because of that. That's the reason alone.
That's the reason why.
He can still play without his top receiver.
But he is not.
Dak is not going to play.
He is not a fucking top quarterback.
He's
not a top quarterback.
5 to 6 weeks, Mark Andrews has been out, and he still had a perfect passer rating against the Dolphins. You
did say that. Yeah, Alan, you said that.
But Mark Andrews was not having a great year.
Yes, he was. He was number 2 tight end in fantasy before he got hurt. Yes, he was.
He was having a down year, and even Kelsey was having a down year too.
Okay, but he was having a down year, but he was still the second best tight end in the NFL before he got hurt.
Who stepped in for him? Isaiah Likely, who then did the same damn thing that Mark Andrews was doing.
So maybe it's not just the tight ends. Maybe the quarterback's actually doing something with the guys that's around him. Maybe he is doing something. Zay Flowers came in.
I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is that his ability to play quarterback is predicated on his ability to run the ball. Every team game plans and has to bring people up into the box.
On offense, like Brock Purdy is, or Dak, it's different.
It is a different game plan. You have to change your scheme.
Player on his offense, on that offense, he's the only one.
Well, boys, it's
not like we have a bunch of studs on our offense. Yeah, we got Mark Andrews, who's missed 6 games. You can say OBJ is a stud. No, everybody all season saying OBJ's washed up. You say Zay Flowers is a stud? Yeah, he's came on lately, but he's only had like 3 or 4 touchdowns this season.
Are you talking, Mark? Are you talking about Aaron Rodgers' 37-4 season?
Yeah, but look at everyone else around him though. Look at the 2021 records, or it might have been 2020. Was it 20? Maybe it's 2020. Doc, look at 2020 because he won MVP. It's 2020. I'm sorry, go to 2020.
Year did he win MVP, dude?
He won 2 years in a row. He won 2020, 21. That's what I'm saying. One of those 2 years, his stats weren't comparable to everybody else. His yards and all that were down. Like they were down compared to Aaron Rodgers. If you look at everyone else around him,
2020.
It was probably the COVID year.
Yeah, it might have been the COVID year. Where Brady won, and Brady might have won MVP if he didn't start off fucking 7-5, and then he went off and won like the last.
It was definitely not the COVID year because he had 42.99 and Deshaun Watson had 48.23.
Yeah, but Deshaun didn't make the playoffs, so of course he's not going to get MVP if he doesn't make the playoffs.
So we talk about 21. Tom Brady had 5,300 and Aaron Rodgers had 41.
Okay, what about everyone else? So Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Aaron Rodgers was 10th in passing yards.
10th in passing yards, about touchdowns. That's what I'm saying. He didn't have great.
Let me fucking pull it up. God damn it.
Mahomes had fucking almost 5,000 yards. Joe Burrow had more. That was a year he went to the Super Bowl. He turned the Bengals around. By the way,
tied for 4th in touchdowns. Tied Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott. All right, he trailed only Herbert, Stafford, and Brady. First in the league in interceptions with only 4. Pretty sure he's going to be first in full-time QB ratings. It's going to give me all of them, which I don't.
He won it because of no interceptions. He had less interceptions than the rest of the guys around him. That's why he had less yards, almost same amount of touchdowns as everybody else, but he had way more interceptions. Way less interceptions thrown. That's why Rodgers won it. And the Packers are the 1 seed in the NFC. Sounds familiar.
He won it because what?
He didn't have any turnovers, and guess what? Lamar doesn't have many turnovers compared to the rest of the guys up in the top.
So even in a down year, Lamar is significantly behind the leader in touchdowns.
But Lamar had
significantly
13 behind this year too, guys.
Significantly behind in pass yards. All right, you're giving MVP to an RB1. Let Christian McCaffrey throw the ball and he'll win MVP.
I think him playing good against the Niners, the Lions, and the Dolphins, who you guys were all high on the Dolphins' defense when they play them, and then you shit at the defense after they play them.
You're absolutely right, Mark. You're absolutely right, because nobody else beat the Lions, Dolphins, or fucking Niners all year long. You're right. Nobody else beat them.
I agree that is the reason why he is going to win the MVP, is because he beat the teams at the right time. All those they went into their gauntlet, and they won their gauntlet. How many teams can we say this year won their gauntlet? Because we had multiple teams go through gauntlets, and they all dropped games. We talked about the Eagles. They were going into their gauntlet, and the Eagles fell apart. They couldn't even stand up at the end of it.
Cowboys dropped gauntlet games.
Gauntlet games. The Dolphins dropped
gauntlet games. The Niners lost 3 in a row. Three in a row.
And I'm just saying, I'm agreeing that Lamar is going to win it as the best player on the best team. But not the best quarterback. That is not why he's winning this. And him winning the MVP does not give him the quarterback narrative that we use in the past. This is because of the current circumstance. This is an exception to the system, the same way that when the last guy who won it as a running back won it. This is an exception to the system this year.
Well, AP won it because he had over 2,000 yards, and he was 9 yards short of Eric Dicker's
The only thing that I can jump on board with for Lamar... The only thing I can jump on board with for Lamar is because of how important he was to his team. Because
that's what MVP stands for.
That's the award. It's the most valuable player. That is the award. It's not like the fucking Heisman or it's a stats award. The Heisman is all stats award.
I still do not know how you can sit here and tell me Dak or CMC.
Dak only beat bad teams. He couldn't beat good teams.
And Dak didn't lose his best weapon either. Dak never played without CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. See how good he's going to be. He never did.
All right. Sorry, Dak put up good numbers against bad teams. Lamar put up good numbers.
I'm sorry, Lamar's not good enough to make his best weapon a wide receiver and not a tight end. You're right. I'm sorry.
But I will say this.
Weapon and still played good. Still had a perfect passer rating with 5 touchdown passes.
But the bad rap that Dak Prescott gets, he does have the numbers in the regular season, and
award.
It's not a numbers award. But what I'm gonna say is that these two guys are on parallel paths. They both came into the league and exceeded expectations in their first couple of years. They both exceeded expectations. Then they kind of hit a wall. They kind of fell down. They had some injuries. And then now here they are again, front runners. And Dak lost in the playoffs. Lamar has lost in the playoffs as a front runner. is Lamar going to show up this time? That's why I said that the pressure is all on the Ravens and it's all on Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah, the pressure's all on the Ravens.
I am just waiting for the Ravens to get bounced in their fucking first game, and that is your MVP. That's how important he is to your team. Couldn't even get you past the first round.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this before we make our predictions. I'm gonna tell you why Dak does not win MVP this year. He is fortunate to win the NFC East because the Eagles were falling off at the same time the Cowboys were during their gauntlet. We forget that the Eagles were losing games that they should have not lost. The Cardinals, the Giants. That's who the Eagles lost to. They lost to the Seahawks on Monday night as well. Those were all favorite games they should have won. We forget that Dak Prescott did horrible against the Bills. We forget that he did horrible against the Dolphins. So he was winning the division because the Eagles were losing at the same time he was. He did not change that team around when they needed him to in December and early January.
So Lamar never had a bad game?
Lamar single-handedly won the division because he was hot from the
single-handedly. Shut the fuck up! Single-handedly won the division. The defense carried that team.
We just talked about the Cowboys' defense.
Barely top 3,000 passing yards. You want to talk about? He is the reason they won that division.
Right. Sat out almost every. Sat out like four fourth quarters. You're right. He had sat out fourth quarters and sat out a game.
Come on,
forget that. That guy played 17 games.
He won 6 games in a row to finish the season that he played.
Yeah,
his last loss was Deshaun Watson was still the starting quarterback for the Browns when Lamar's last loss was.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's all there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's all narrative. This MVP is going to be narrative. I'm not arguing that.
I don't think Dak should be it. I mean, honestly, I thought if Dak would have finished hot and he would have won those games that he should have won, or at least, I mean, I can understand losing the Bills, but I understand losing the Dolphins. But if you lose both of them and you do bad, you're not going to win MVP.
My argument for Dak for MVP
his last game.
My Dak argument ended with the Bills. I hopped off of it for him winning MVP at that point.
Yeah, I mean, winning MVP. But let's make this prediction because we spent a good section on the Ravens and Lamar. I have the Ravens winning this game. I think that they're going to come in. I think the defense is going to play lights out. I think that the offense is going to do enough. I think it's going to be maybe like a low 20s game. I think both defenses are going to play pretty well against the offenses that they're going against. And I think that Lamar's going to get to his first conference championship, and we'll see what happens next week. But I have Ravens. Chris has the Houston Texans winning this game.
Of course he does. Yeah, no, I'll go second. I have the Ravens winning this game, obviously. I'm not going to go bet the Ravens all season long, and they've only let me down 3 times besides the last week, but we didn't really do much on that last week. So I'm going to go Ravens. I'm going to go 31-24.
Or you can.
Oh, we're not doing scores?
No, not for the playoffs. We're just doing
Okay. Well, I'm taking the Ravens.
That was a given.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to start this one off here. I'm calling for the upset. I said from the beginning I had it in my bracket too. I just think that too much time off. I think that Texans have nothing to lose. They're going to come out. They're going to shrink the field. They're gonna make Lamar Jackson make a couple turnovers. They may even get the ball, just like Jordan Love and the Packers last week. They may even get the ball first and put a little bit of pressure on them by scoring on that great defense. And I think that Texans are definitely gonna pull this one out. I'll also be betting that on this weekend.
I am going
$1,000 at it. See how confident you are on it.
I actually told Mark I might throw $1,000 on the Texans, but I am going to take the Ravens in this one to shit the fucking bed. Give me the Texans. They're taking this one home. Goodbye, Ravens. Bounced out first round again. Lamar's dog shit, showing everybody why he's MVP.
This is going to age well for you guys.
Don't say you. Hey, you better say names because I picked the Ravens. I had them losing to the Browns, but the Browns are out. And
I'm doing this purely because Lamar is a piece of shit.
Sorry, lost your money.
But I don't think we can make the argument that Lamar Jackson is a piece of shit. I mean,
another fucking injury. Dude. He should have just faked another injury 3 weeks ago and set out the playoffs again. But he already got his contract, so he didn't need to.
God damn. All right, well, let's move on. Monday's gonna be spicy no matter who wins this game.
Quit on his team last year. Fuck Lamar. Go Texans.
All right, well, let's move on to the NFC's number 1 seed, another team we haven't seen in 20 days, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. They are hosting a red-hot Green Bay Packers team led by Jordan Love and this young cast, boys. I think that's the storyline right there. It's his own self. We saw the young cats play against the Cowboys defense. I think the Niners are way better than the Cowboys are at defense with Nick Bosa, Chase Young. You have Jordan Hargrave. You have Armstead. You have Fred Warner, probably the best linebacker in football. You can argue that with Roquan Smith. But the Packers, this young core, that's the storyline. Can they do the same thing like Alan said? Will they get the ball first, and will they put the front runners out second? Let the Niners chase them. I think that's the story here, boys. This young core versus the Niners defense.
Yeah, I like the Niners in this one. I'm not going to lie, it's a little biased here as a Bears fan. Fuck the Packers. But I think that this is going to be a real test for the Packers. I don't know if they're going to be able to stand up to it. This is a much different tempo, much different team than – and one of the things we saw with the Cowboys is they're not good at playing from behind early. So San Francisco, I don't think is going to have a problem handling them. This is going to be a huge environment, bigger than I think the Dallas game for Jordan Love. So I'm taking the Niners. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people expect, but I'm taking the Niners in this one.
Well, interesting stat is, and I think we mentioned it, Shanahan has never, as a head coach, come back in the fourth quarter when his team has been down 5 points or more. Literally a touchdown. All you need to do is win the game, and they've never had the opportunity. Well, they've had the opportunity. They've never pulled off the opportunity to do it. So it's going to be interesting if the Packers get a lead in that fourth quarter, if it's more than 5 or 4 points, if the Niners can finally do something they haven't done with Shanahan.
Yeah, I just don't think that this game's going to be close. I think that it'll be a game where the Niners are just ahead the entire time. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I'm not talking 20 points or anything like that. I think that it'll be a game where you'll see the obvious difference in experience and talent on the Niners' full team. And yes, 20 days off for Brock Purdy. Same thing with Lamar Jackson. I think that that's not going to matter as much because of the team around. And I think that the Packers are a much younger team. This is a game where you're going to see the experience come to play. The Niners are just going to win this game. And the Packers went up against an aberration. It was something that we don't normally see. The Cowboys completely shit the bed. Kudos to the Packers for coming out prepared. Kudos for them coming out and taking the momentum right off the bat. Whatever it was, you're not going to see a guy 17.2 yards away from your wide receiver. That's not going to happen against the Niners.
Luke, I've never seen you so boiled up, man. Like, I can see it in your face. When they're talking, they mention Lamar, I can see it.
Crazy how the narrative changes when the Ravens have time off versus the Niners having time off. Oh, it has no effect really on the Niners. They got good players. Like, this is crazy how the narrative is. But
I didn't say shit about time off.
Okay.
Well, I mean, someone did on here. That's what he's saying.
I did. No, I did. And I get what you're saying. The narrative is different
narrative.
there. But what I'm also saying is that the Ravens are also in the same boat with having that time off. Yes. However, Lamar Jackson has that proven record. The Ravens as an organization have that proven record of coming out flat after benching their guys. They're so in their mind on this stuff too that they're talking about it themselves. They're like, we remember what happened 2019. Guys that weren't even on the team were like, oh yeah, we're aware of it. We know what happened. That's already in their brain. They're already going to be thinking about it. It's already adding pressure. The Niners, they know they're the better team. They know they lucked out. They're the team that could beat them, went out, the Rams, and they're not worried about anybody else in this NFC, bro.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna disagree. So I think the Niners. I think they're actually probably looking past, kind of like last week, how the other teams, the favorites, were looking past these the underdogs. I think the 49ers might be already looking past the Packers and moving on to the next week. So I think the Packers might be a sneaky upset game.
I don't think they're looking past the Packers after what the Packers did to Dallas last week.
And I don't think Shanahan is going to look past LaFleur like that. I mean, they have history too. He's not looking past them.
No, well, it's just like the Browns shouldn't look past the Texans, but everybody's already playing a Ravens-Browns game, so they're already looking past the fucking Texans. So I think the 49ers could be doing the same thing.
That's round one, though. When you see the team come out and stand up against...
Or like the Eagles looking past the Bucs.
Well, I don't know about
they weren't looking past them. That Bucs is a good team.
I don't think. Well, I don't say that, but I don't think Philly looked past them. I think Philly was struggling. I think they knew what was in front of them. I think that they had confidence they were going to win, but I don't think they.
I think Philly been looking past their opponents since they were 10-1.
Yeah.
I think they came in and they were too cocky and expected
too.
to win.
But I'm interested to see, Luke, if Jordan Love can finally do something Aaron Rodgers could never do, and that is beat the 49ers in the playoffs. Hey, no, they had the last 4 games against the Packers in the or the Niners in the playoffs. This goes back to the 90s as well. They were 0-4 the last 4 games against the Niners in the playoffs. So interesting to see there.
Let's not change it now.
I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I really do. Like, I like this. I don't know. I think the Niners just need to do what they did in 2019, like they did with Jimmy G. Run the ball. The Packers suck against the run. So just fucking run the ball. Let Christian McCaffrey and Mitchell and whoever else they have back there, let them fucking pound the rock and just gas out this defense. Let them run the clock out. They're going to score.
But that's the thing of Shanahan. Shanahan knows and puts his guys in the best place to make plays. He's
until
got
the Super
the
Bowl.
guys.
Until the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I mean, even then he got to the Super Bowl.
No,
he was up
did the Super Bowl.
28-3 against the.
Okay, how about you forget the Chiefs game when he decided, hey, let's let Jimmy G throw a fucking 50-yard pass, something that we haven't done all playoffs when, we got fucking one of the hottest running back duos.
The guy was
in the
wide
backfield.
open. Jimmy G just missed it.
Yeah, because he got too damn greedy. Fucking run the ball. That's all you have to do. Run the ball. Let Mahomes sit on the sideline. You have the hottest quarterback in the league, and you're fucking throwing the ball with Jimmy G. Jimmy G.
You make that catch. You make that catch.
Yeah, you're right.
What happens?
Maybe they should have ran the ball. Like they should have done against Patriots. That's his MO. That's what he does best. He overthinks it in the playoff and in the Super Bowl. Yeah. That's Shanahan though. But no, I have Niners. Chris has Niners. So I don't know. I think Alan, you had Niners too, right?
Yeah, definitely Niners.
I think it might be a close game, but I'm still taking Niners.
I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to be that guy.
I like it. Respect.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, save us from ourselves.
Hey, I think it's going to be a really close game. I definitely would bet Packers against the spread.
The spread's what, 8? Was it 8.5?
9.5. 9.5.
9.5?
Right.
9.5. I know it's been going back and forth.
I think I might take Packers plus 9.5.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a close game, maybe even tied after the third. And I think the Niners pull away. I think I told Alan, I think the Discord, I know Doc doesn't check it as much, but I said 10. I said it's gonna be close, and then they're gonna pull away in the fourth quarter a little bit, probably win by 10.
Honestly, it's going to depend on whether or not the San Francisco defense wants to acknowledge that Romeo Doubs exists.
Well, I think the difference is
the Cowboys apparently were just like Romeo. Who?
We know the pass rush in the Niners though. They're light years ahead of the Cowboys. I don't give a shit if the Cowboys get sacks or not. Have fun. You can't double team Nick Bosa because you got Chase Young, and you have an interior with Jordan Hargrave and Armstead. I mean. Good luck. I mean, it's just good luck for the Packers offensive line, who's still pretty young core there too. So, and Nick Bosa's going to be hunting this game. He hasn't played in 3 weeks. He's hungry. But let's move on to 3 of these games, by the way, boys, rematches in the regular season. So rematch here, something that we haven't seen in our lifetime, a second home game for the Detroit Lions in the playoffs. Yes, they are hosting who Dan Campbell says a good Baker Mayfield Tampa Bay Buccaneers who demolished the Eagles. This is a rematch, as I said, 20-6. The Lions manhandled the Bucs by 14 points in Week 6 in Tampa. Baker had a pretty struggling game. So once again, like same thing with the headline of Lamar and Stroud. How much does Baker learn from that Lions game in Tampa Bay when now he's going to Motor City with this hot fan base that's going on right there? It's going to be loud. It's going to be rocking.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think he learns a shit ton. I mean, obviously they're studying the film, looking everywhere that they went wrong, trying to adjust. This has been a solid Buccaneers team in my opinion. And my biggest concern is which Jared Goff are we going to get? Because you're either going to get lights out like prime LA Ram Jared Goff, or you're going to get late LA Ram kind of middle of this season Lion Jared Goff, and that's really going to be the make or break because the defense had so many holes, so many problems this year. And honestly, you can make the same argument Baker Mayfield. Which Baker Mayfield are you going to get? But, if Baker Mayfield connects, there's a lot of holes in that Lions secondary that teams have been exposing all year long that, Baker Mayfield has the capabilities to do. If the Tampa Bay defense can step up and Baker can come to play, This is absolutely a game they can win. However, at home in Ford Field, I mean, this is going to be like a soccer home team, with the passion taking over the stadium. So I want to put my money on the Lions, but this is a coin flip. I'm going to say Lions, but it's a coin flip.
And Jared Goff balled out. He had over 350 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bucs in Raymond James Stadium.
Listen,
and
you want to know why Jared Goff is not going to have that game? Because big old Vita Vea is going to move him off his spot. Jared Goff is very much so the archetype of Tom Brady. You move him out the middle of his pocket, make him roll out, make him move out of that, make him move the pocket, and he's going to make mistakes. Listen,
that's how you shut down winning 6 Super Bowls.
Well, he didn't do it the first time they played, so let's see if he does it this time.
You're right, but I think that you have different things that are coming out from the tape. Yes, it happens. You lose that game, you come back with a different passion. You asked the question, Doc, what Baker Mayfield are we going to get? I'm going to tell you what Baker Mayfield you're going to get. You're going to get the Baker Mayfield from the playoffs, who's a fucking stud in the playoffs. All right, 2-1 record, 102.7 passer rating, 804 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interceptions in his career playoff stats. All right. Is that better than Lamar? I don't know. All right, guys. But all I'm saying is Baker Mayfield is not going to shit the bed. He's going to come out on fire. Last week, the Lions gave up, 9 catches to 183 yards and a touchdown to Puka Nacua? Who is Mike Evans?
I'd say this year I would take Nacua. I love Mike Evans.
Listen,
but this year I'm taking Puka Nacua over both Godwin and Mike Evans.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that.
Cooper didn't do shit this year.
Well, I didn't. That's why I didn't mention Cup. I mean,
but listen, Mike Evans. We talk about Mike Evans being a Hall of Famer. We had that discussion in the Discord. We had that. He's 10 straight years of 1,000 yards with any quarterback you throw up at him. And Baker Mayfield again. The Bucs have nothing to lose. Baker Mayfield already got his money. He's already going to get his money in the offseason. I think
the Lions have nothing. The Lions, to me, also nothing to lose too, because all they wanted was one playoff win this whole season. They got that one win.
Won their Super Bowl. The Lions already won their Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but they have nothing to play with. That's what I'm saying. They're playing with house money as well. This is a win for them as well. It's like kind of the same thing. If they get to the championship game, that's good.
The Lions might be just coming off a playoff hangover this week. They might become so happy, like fucking all Detroit's fucking partying all week, that they're going to come over to this game.
That's a good point.
Baker's a motivated guy. Like, everybody just kind of wrote Baker off after like the Panthers traded him away. Baker's written off, and now look at him. He's actually on a good team, a functional team, and he's playing well. He's playing good football. I think Baker's more of a feisty quarterback, and I think that's how the Buccaneers get the win over the Lions.
You heard what Dan Campbell said, right?
He's passionate. Yeah. He wants it more, but at the same time, the problem.
I think Jared Goff's like I just don't see Jared Goff doing it 2 weeks in a row in the playoffs.
Yeah, listen, man, Campbell is out here. They're going to bite kneecaps off. I get it, but guess what?
They're gonna go for a 4th down.
Go for a 4th down.
Well, by the way,
that are risky. They're not going to get them.
Well, they did it last week. That was one of the biggest plays of the game.
But the week before that, they played risky. It's a coin flip. It's a 50-50 game, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And man, Campbell, he's just out here. He's going to do what he has to do. But guess what? His team, they already feel it. They were out here popping champagne. They loved the fact they won that game.
I will say, though, well, Dan Campbell said about Baker, because you said how he motivates the team. He said Baker came out there when they were at the Oklahoma's Pro Day, and they were looking at Oklahoma scouts back when I think he was in – I don't know where he was at when that happened, when he was in Oklahoma. But he said that Baker – most quarterbacks don't come out there in flip-flops in the cold weather and throw to their guys in their pro day like that. He said Baker's that guy, though. Baker's there, and he loves them. But I do think, boys, that the key player of this game is not a quarterback. It's not Mike Evans. It's not Puka Nacua. It's Rachaad White. Rachaad White needs to have a good game. The Lions' defense against the run is amazing. They are phenomenal. They need to get Rachaad White going because it opens the door for Baker Mayfield, opens the door for the receivers. Rachaad White had a bad game last time, 7 carries for 26 yards. They had abandoned the run because they were getting beat down. And I think he got hurt as well. So Rachaad White can have a big game. It's going to open everything up for Baker Mayfield, who still has a hurt ankle and hurt ribs.
Hey,
Rachaad White is the key player.
Did not have a good game either. Right. David Montgomery was 8 for 24. So there was not a good running game for both teams.
But my key, though, is I think Rachaad White is more important in this game than David Montgomery is because they still have Jahmyr Gibbs. And I get Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't used to the potential in week 6 that he was when Montgomery got hurt. So that whole Jahmyr Gibbs, whatever his stat line was for that game, that's irrelevant to me because they weren't using Jahmyr Gibbs to that level. But Rachaad White is my key player of this game. He needs to play good.
But here's my thing. What does Baker Mayfield do good? Over everything else, what does he do good?
He
throws the ball. No, he throws the ball downfield. He is an exceptional deep pass thrower. Okay, and what does Mike Evans do well? What do the Bucs do well? They throw the ball and catch the ball deep downfield. They weren't able to get that off.
They're pretty good at drop passes the last
Mike Evans
handful of weeks. Mike
Evans is pretty good. He's going to drop passes, but hey, what if he catches them? And I'm just saying, I think that Detroit Lions are going to give up some bad plays on the defensive side, some big, deep gains, and I think that the Bucs are going to be able to capitalize on it. And Rachaad White is going to have a big game in the red zone. That's where I think it's going to come.
And I think it's still key. It's key, though, like you said about Mike Evans, same thing with the Lions. They need to be able to stop him on St. Brown because that's a man right there. That's a freak. He's one of the best receivers in football.
Yeah, but I'm on St. Brown. He goes down the middle of the field, and Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to be right there waiting for him.
So what I'm hearing is you have the Bucs. Luke has the Bucs. Doc was questionable. Doc, what'd you have?
I want to go Bucs. But like you said, I mean, despite the Detroit hangover, I think that this is a team playing on cloud nine. Dan Campbell gives me a lot of concern. That makes you want to go Bucs, going for it on 4th down and just making terrible coaching decisions all season long. But I think this team is still very good. I have more faith that, because I've seen it all year, that Jared Goff is going to come out and perform better with his team than Baker Mayfield is. Because honestly, the issue with Baker Mayfield is he going to try to do too much? Once he gets behind a little bit, is he going to try to do too much like we've seen so many other times in Cleveland? I mean, we don't really see much in Carolina or LA, but, you know, we've seen earlier this year when he got down ahead early against the got down early against the Saints in that shutout or almost shutout loss to the Saints. You know, is he going to try to do too much, or is he going to play the composed Baker Mayfield that can be so successful? So a lot of it's going to depend on where the game starts, but I'm going Lions on this one.
Chris has Lions. I have Lions. Luke, I think you're Bucs, right? You said upset, so
Yep, Bucs. I've been riding the Bucs all season, and I said 9 wins for the Bucs. They got 9 wins. Now they're at 10, and next week's gonna be 11.
So if that's the case, I have Niners, Lions, and the NFC Championship. Luke will have Bucs hosting the NFC Championship against the Green Bay Packers. Chris will have Lions, Niners as well. You have Lions and Niners, Doc, and Al will have Niners, Bucs. So we have some variety there. Let's move on to the last game. This is what they call, obviously, this is what the media calls it, the new Peyton Manning, Tom Brady rivalry. This is the 4th time, or 2020, 21. Yep, this is the 3rd time, I'm sorry, that they've played in the playoffs. I think it's, I don't even know how many. 2020, 2021. Yeah, all in Kansas City. This is the 3rd time that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes will be playing in the NFC or in the NFL playoffs. Mahomes has beaten them every single time. Obviously, Luke just said it. It's all been an Arrowhead. This is the first time that it's a true road game for Patrick Mahomes on the road in the playoffs. The Super Bowl doesn't count as a road game. The Chiefs did lose this year in Buffalo or in Kansas City, 2017. Both QBs were kind of the same stats. I think that's what it comes down to is which quarterback is going to outperform the other quarterback. This is the Peyton Manning Tom Brady rivalry that we call. Which quarterback is going to be Superman and which one's going to be Clark Kent? Or maybe they are both Superman, but which one's going to have the ball last? I think the team that has the ball last is going to get that game-winning drive, and I think it's going to lean towards the home team, Josh Allen. I have him in the Super Bowl. I think Josh Allen outperforms Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs this year.
Listen, you know what I got? I got the guy who plays as Clark Kent winning this game. All right. I think that this game is going to be based off of who has the better team and is playing within the system. I think that Patrick Mahomes understands the difficulties with his team, and I think that he's going to come out and try to be Superman. And I think it's going to turn into some turnovers. I think that this Bills defense is really opportunistic. I think that, yes, the Chiefs defense is really good. And, yes, it was a good game. The Bills got out to an early lead, in the first game, and then the defense really clamped down, and they just kind of held on at the end of the game. I think that this game, we're going to see that running game get going by the Bills. I think that it's going to be a complete game, but I think Josh Allen's going to be the Clark Kent here, and he's going to win this game by being Clark Kent. He's going to get over that hump. He's not going to care about the stats. He's going to make that play when it matters, but he's not going to come out and try to force anything, because what matters right now is getting past this Kansas City Chiefs. It's that rivalry game.
Yeah, that's their kryptonite.
No, I think Josh Allen is probably going to try to do too much, because Josh Allen is that offense, really. You know how Josh Allen does. He is that quarterback that does too much all the time. He forces the ball downfield when he shouldn't. He makes ridiculous fucking passes on like fourth down, just fucking throwing up punts. So I think Mahomes is the proven quarterback in the playoffs. Like, Josh Allen just cannot figure out how to beat Kansas City in the playoffs, and I think.
Well, I mean, one of the games. Well, 2021, 2021. I'm not blaming Josh Allen. You cannot blame Josh Allen. They were up with 13 seconds left in the game when they scored, and I don't give a shit. You can sit there and say what you want that he lost the game. That was not on Josh Allen. You know that.
Listen, you said the same thing. You said the same thing about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson won his last 6 games. But hold on.
Specifically against the Bills.
No, Lamar Jackson won his last 6 games, right? But listen, the Buffalo Bills have been playing.
We're not going to talk about the Ravens.
Listen, but
this is the narrative with Lamar. No, everything comes back to him.
No, I'm comparing this to your situation because of what you said earlier. Because at the end of the day, you just said that Josh Allen tries too hard. You're saying that Josh Allen tries too hard. But what they've done in this winning streak, since they had to win, since their back was on the wall, they were 6-6. He has done less. He has not come out and forced things. He has had some turnovers, but he has not come out and forced. There's games he's throwing 150 yards, 200 yards, 173 yards. He's not out here trying to be the MVP, and that's how they ended up winning these games. They've been playing playoff football since week freaking 14,
yep,
right?
14.
Week 14, they've been playing playoff football, and I think they learned something. They learned that at the end of the day, none of that shit matters. Josh Allen can't go out and beat every team by himself. They learned how to play as a team, and they're going to come out and they're going to be a balanced attack. That's the thing that their coordinator, when they made that change, what's his name, Brady?
Joe Brady, yep.
Joe Brady. When he came in and made that change, they became well-balanced. James Cook has been balling, and I think that they're going to really attack this game with a B. Clark Kent and pull out that cape when we need it at the end. Don't do it during the middle of the game.
Well, I know how Luke feels about it.
Yeah. I'm still going to ride with Mahomes. He's the proven winner in the playoffs. 2 Super Bowls. He's won he's been in 3 Super Bowls. He's been 4 AFC Championship games?
Yeah,
4 or
5 ever since 2018. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yep, 5. He's hosted, not just been, he's hosted 5 AFC Championships in a row.
So I'm going to ride with Mahomes on this game. Yeah, their offense is shaky at points, but I think Mahomes can get enough done on his own. And Pacheco is a solid running back too. If Kelsey's cooking, he lights out. So Kelsey plays big in big games.
He does.
I just think with these 2 quarterbacks, I get it. Mahomes has had the most drops. We talked to Mike Evans, but goddamn, the Chiefs have the most drops by a whole team. And I understand Josh Allen's philosophy. I know, Luke, you tried giving him a backhanded or an insult when you said, he's Brett Favre. And I was like, well, if that's an insult, goddamn, I'd love to be called Brett Favre every single day of the week. If my quarterback was Brett Favre, that's fine. I get he doesn't have the MVPs, doesn't have the Super Bowls like Brett Favre yet. He's still early in his career. I mean, but I trust Josh Allen in the playoffs. Yeah, he might not. He has the second most wins left in the playoffs. That's behind Patrick Mahomes. He puts his team in position to.
He's Brett Favre,
but this is the same
Cam
Mahomes
Newton combined. All right,
but this is the
everything
difference
that we wanted Cam Newton to be.
But the difference is I get it. Mahomes is Mahomes. I will not deny that Mahomes is not the best quarterback. He's the best QB in the NFL. And I think when it's all said and done, I don't give a shit if he doesn't match Brady in rings. I think when it's said and done, if he has 4 rings and Brady has 7, I don't give a shit about the rings because that's an anomaly. That's an anomaly because of the dynasty. I think Mahomes is the best QB I've ever seen throw the ball. the best talent I've ever seen throw the ball. But that's a story that will be said. We can argue 15 years from now. But when it comes to this year, I think that Josh Allen is going to play better than Patrick Mahomes. I get it. The Chiefs have a great defense. The Bills have a great defense. It's in Buffalo. We know what the fans are going to do. Expect a couple of dildos thrown at the Taylor Swift press box because I think it's going to happen. They're going to start throwing shit at that press box. I'm not lying. This is not Kansas City. This is Buffalo. This is Buffalo, New York.
All I know is Buffalo fans wouldn't have went to the hospital for a little bit of hypothermia, all right?
No, they're jumping on fire tables in the snow last week. But Doc, last word here. Bills Chiefs.
I am going a lot of concern. Obviously, the Josh Allen has been shaky a lot this season. The connection with Stephon Diggs, has been abysmal lately. Gabe Davis is hit or miss. Khalil Shakir is whether or not they get him involved. James Cook has been more consistent lately, but a lot of times has been like 25 yards or 100, no in between. But my biggest concern is that Chiefs offense. Travis Kelce is on the downfall, has been for some time now. They don't have you can call Rashee Rice their true number one wide receiver, but I don't think that he can stand up as a number 3 to most teams right now. The offensive concerns for Kansas City, great defense is going to really have to hold them in this game. But I think that with the Bills, with how hot that they have been lately, and the Chiefs' struggles, I won't hold the charges against them because Blaine Gabbert played that one in a barely winnable game against the worst pass defense in the league. But losses to the Raiders, loss to the Bills in Kansas City in their matchup earlier, just a few weeks ago, actually. So I'm going Bills on this one. I think it may not be as close as people think it will. I hope it is. I want to see a good game, but I think this is finally where Josh Allen overcomes, especially with how hot this team has been. I think this is where Josh Allen finally overcomes playoff drought versus Patrick Mahomes and finally gets it done this year because Mahomes just has no more weapons left on offense.
And Chris is with the Bills too. So Luke, you're alone on the Kansas City Chiefs. And if God was a lone survivor on Patrick Mahomes, how often do you see that? That's a rare occasion, but it speaks to the offense. I think that's what it is. If the offense would have had some momentum like it did last year, might see a little more split here with this fucking game.
Yeah, the Bills are just red hot. Mark, you called it out, winning out pretty much, and the Chiefs. I've not been impressed with them. I haven't been impressed with them. They barely beat a Jake Browning Bengals team by 1 score. Lost to the Raiders, beat the Patriots by 10. Lost to the Bills, lost to the Packers, beat the Raiders by 2 scores. This has not been the Chiefs team that we are used to seeing. And they started out so well, and it's just been a rough second half of the season for them.
Yeah, and again, there was just my comment earlier. I think that the Bills found the right way to win. They've been back up against the wall, and they learned something. Things have changed, and I think this is how they do it. They're playing playoff football right now.
With that being said, I have Ravens hosting the Bills. Luke has Ravens hosting the Chiefs, which means the Ravens have to get past 2 quarterbacks that they've had a hard time with in the playoffs, or Lamar Jackson versus Mahomes. So that's going to be interesting too. Is if Lamar gets there, that'll be a story for next week, obviously. But Chris has Bills hosting the Texans. Doc has the Bills hosting the Texans, and Alan, you have the Bills hosting the Texans. So it sounds like you guys are Bills Texans. Me and Luke are half Chiefs, half Raven, or a full Ravens. So interesting weekend. I really think this is going to be a good divisional round. I think we're going to have some good games here. I'm really excited. Also, before we sign off, rumors. I know we mentioned it. Bill Belichick seems he's going to be the new coach for the Atlanta Falcons. He's met already twice. The Falcons have done all the stuff they have to do with the requirements. Rumors are Kirk Cousins has said he wouldn't necessarily turn down a chance to play the Hall of Fame coach. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But he says he'll have to see what happens in March, obviously, when free agency opens up. But I think if we can get Belichick, and I hate to say it, I don't ever say this today, but McDaniels and Belichick on the Falcons with Kirk Cousins, I think I'd be happy. I think I'd be a happy camper going into the offseason. Get who?
JJ. How much contract does he have left?
You mean Jefferson?
Yeah.
Ooh, he's a free agent.
Don't
do that to me, Doc. I might have a heart attack. I might be going to the ER tonight.
When they were talking about Cousins early in the year, Jefferson said, Cousins he wants to stay with Cousins. Cousins staying in Minnesota is a big thing that would keep Minnesota. So if Cousins goes to Atlanta, it is completely possible that Jefferson follows.
Hey, listen to this. I will take Kirk Cousins on a hometown discount. It won't be hometown because he's coming to Atlanta. And I would take a trade. I'd give up the 8th pick and maybe 2 first-rounders for JJ. I would do that in a heartbeat. Guys, and we have JJ Drake London, Bijan, Kyle Pitts, and fucking Kirk Cousins.
You guys have a heart attack, boys. Listen, why would you not do it? You guys have the defense. It's proven. You have Bijan.
Well, I think
Kyle Pitts. You have Drake London as a good number 2 behind Jefferson.
Well, he's going off the rail. I think Belichick obviously is pretty much a foreseen thought. It seems like we've all said it. It seems like that's what's going to happen. I think Kirk is not. I think Kirk is 50-50. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it could happen.
Guys don't go to play for Bill Belichick. I've been a Patriots fan for my entire life. They don't go play for Bill Belichick. Okay.
Well, you never had. Well, quarterbacks never had to though. Well, there was never really a shot for the QBs to come in.
Did Rob Gronkowski not go to play for Belichick?
Gronkowski got drafted.
Did Gronkowski not retire and then come back to play for Belichick?
No.
For Tom Brady. He came back to play with Tom Brady.
And then retired and went to Tampa.
And then he retired and forced his way to Tampa. Listen, guys,
he went to Tampa to play with Brady.
We're gonna see it when the Dynasty Hulu show comes out. I can't wait for that show. It's gonna be phenomenal. But when we see that show, they've already dropped it. Wes Welker in the audio clip, guy said they played for Tom Brady. They weren't playing for Bill Belichick. They were playing for Tom Brady.
They worked for Belichick, played for Brady, and you know what? Brady said it. He said that there's no success without Belichick. I mean, because it goes both ways. I get it. I get it. He can't. I hate that argument. I hate it does because they had a great defense every time they won the Super Bowl in New England. We can sit there and say that it'd be a fool not to say that. Now, Tom Brady's he had the post success following Belichick because it was easier for Brady to win. No offense to Tom, it's nothing against Tom Brady. He joined a great situation.
Do you think that Belichick is going to the NFC South because Tom Brady went there? Like, is that how petty this old man has become?
No, I think it's similar to what Tampa Bay had though. I think with the same situation, they were a QB away, and some other pieces that joined alongside. They did get Gronk, they did get AB. Playoff Lenny came along the way, but they already had Godwin and Mike Evans, who were the top duo in the league according to PFF the year before. And
you guys aren't a coach away. You're a quarterback and a coach away. That's a big difference.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But if you get Belichick, and then they never had the shot to get really a QB until Brady left because they had Brady for all those years. If you get Kirk, I think that's good. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if Kirk's a free agent and he looks at his options, he's like, well, damn, JJ wants to leave. Why would I come back to Minnesota? Like, they have no run game. The defense it's pretty good in Minnesota, but they have nothing else there besides Jordan Addison and recovering TJ Hawkinson off an ACL surgery that came in late in the season. So situation might be better in Atlanta. You know, you have a young core and you have a Hall of Fame coach. Why turn it down? That's what I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it happens.
Falcons would do all that and still miss the playoffs.
I don't think that would happen. I think if Kirk and Bill come, if Kirk and Bill come, you are going to see two teams in the NFC South make the playoffs. I think Tampa can still make it. I think they have a good. I was wrong on that. I think they have a good squad. I think if they keep Baker and they keep investing on that team on the offensive side, they would be a better team. I think New Orleans is a weird situation. I think Carolina's going to struggle. I think the top three right there, New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa, I think you can get two teams in the NFC South from that. Now, that's if Kirk Cousins joins. I got to see the QB is going to be whoever joins Bill. I think Bill's coming. I think Bill's is pretty much a almost signed deal away. Pretty much.
I think that from all of the noise that's out there right now, I think that that's the case. I think Bill is going to end up there. And the word on the street, at least from Patriots land, is that Josh McDaniels was going to go with him wherever he goes. He's not the guy that comes in, as much like Tomlin, right? He's not the guy that comes in and players are excited to play for him because he's going to walk around and tell you why you're smiling. You know, what are we doing?
Tomlin,
why are we doing this, right? You know, get off of TikTok and do your job, right? Like, guys aren't going to be excited about that. Can that young team that you have, are they going to respond well to that? I mean, you got the talent. You got Bijan. You got Kyle Pitts. You got Drake London. You've got a solid team. You got really good players on the defensive side too. And we know Belichick is going to get that worked out because that's what he does. But
I think if you get a good veteran quarterback, if you get a good vet quarterback, like if it comes with Belichick, you get a good vet QB. He can keep the locker room together. That's what Kirk's good at too, by the way. He's good at keeping locker rooms.
Belichick and Russell Wilson and put that on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I'm good.
Basically, at this point, who is that
on Hard Knocks?
But who is that veteran quarterback? The Cardinals are sticking with Kyler Murray.
We said it already. I said already. I believe Kirk Cousins is that veteran. I'm not saying we are, but I'm saying that's the veteran that I want. That's the vet QB that's available that I want.
I don't think he's available though.
They're not going to tag him. It's up to Kirk Cousins where he goes at this point. It's a Kirk Cousins decision now. It's no longer Minnesota's decision.
That man
he's not under contract.
He was out there banging the drums.
Well, he probably didn't know
with no shirt on. That man's out here. He loves Minnesota.
I agree, he does, but I don't think he also maybe saw Belichick being fired and going to a team that has got a better winning chance at the moment than Minnesota. And if he wants a ring, he's going to leave Minnesota. If he's a shot to win a ring, he's leaving Minnesota. I'm not saying he's going to win with the Atlanta Falcons, but
did we learn
he's got a better shot.
In the quarterback show that said that Kirk is about winning a championship? Like, I think that.
Well, I mean, at that point, yeah, he's one of the hardest workers in the NFL, and at the time the Vikings were a good team.
He was the most hit quarterback in the NFL too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not debating that at all. I'm not debating is he that guy. I'm saying does he have the desire to win a championship, and is it more important than playing with his guys because he loves that team, he loves that city, he loves those guys on that team. You think he's gonna walk away from the best wide receiver in the league?
The best wide receiver said he might not. He doesn't even know if he's going to be there.
Best wide receiver has already come out early in the season and said he may leave if Kirk Cousins leaves.
He's waiting on Kirk, and it ain't what JJ's going to. I mean, JJ doesn't want to be there.
That was like the first big story of the NFL season after opening kickoff.
They would franchise him. He's not. They can't let him go. They're not going to let him go.
They'll probably tag JJ, and if JJ doesn't want to sign, then that's where they trade and they get someone's like a couple first rounders like they did for Tyreek.
No, but they're going to franchise. That's the problem with rookie contracts and the way that the NFL is set up. You can't get out of that. You're not going. He sits out, and guess what happens? He becomes the next Le'Veon Bell. He becomes the next Antonio Brown. Don't freaking sit out.
He ain't going to be the next Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he's got way too much talent.
Antonio Brown's was a fucking head case.
And AB fell off after like his 10th, 9th year.
Cases. Terrell Owens was a head case. He's an all-timer. Randy Moss was a head case, all-timer.
Yeah, but you mentioned AB. And AB's window didn't fall off. But AB didn't fall off until after like year 9 or 10. JJ's only in year going into 5 or whatever.
But the way that the contract situation is set up, the way the CBA is set up, guys don't get to walk away when they want to. They could sit out, and it's going to hurt him. He's not going to sit out, not with his money. These young guys, they're out here. They could make money off of NILs, but when they stop playing, do you think they're getting that money? I mean, now I'm not specifically talking about NILs for I'm talking about their commercial and deals and sponsorships and all that stuff that these NFL players are getting, but. JJ sitting out is not going to be beneficial to him. There's nothing that is going to be beneficial for him to sit out.
Well, it'd force a trade potentially, but that's a story for the offseason. It honestly season. It's the same thing with Kirk.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, I think that's a story for the offseason in March when free agency starts. I just think it would be awesome. I think Kirk's a possibility. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. Like I said, he said March will be the time to tell, and it opens the door. It creates the door open for whoever wants to sign him. But great episode, boys. Can't wait to see the Discord chats. Doc won't be in there. He'll probably be texting the individual chat with me, Luke, and Chris. So Saturday at 3-something, whenever that game starts, close to 4, it's going to be a fun chat. I can't wait for it. I'm gonna probably
4:30 my time.
Yep. So 4:30 my time. I'll definitely pop some popcorn, and I'll be waiting for Luke, Doc, Alan, Chris, Jake. All of them will be chit-chatting away.
I only have one game that I care about watching this week. Go Texans.
I think that this weekend, like you said, I think this whole weekend we're going to get good games, though. I think that either way, there's not going to be any of this 48-16 bullshit. I don't think any of that's going to happen. It's going to be good games all weekend.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Luke, good luck to those Ravens, dude. Thanks. That's Luke Rule.
Good luck, though, Luke. I mean that. Good luck.
That was, of
course,
Lamar,
Nick Doc. Good luck, dude.
That's Alan Thomas. Shout out to you, Chris. I'm Mark Davis. This is All About the Balls podcast. See you Monday. We are out. Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at the Sack House.